Hey guys, for those of you who haven't seen our prior episodes, we're growing 20 acres of soybeans and we have no idea what we're doing. So I'm here at Peterson Seeds in Harwood, North Dakota. We're gonna go pick out the best soybean variety that we can for our plot of land. Come with me, here we go. What's going on over here? What do they got inside the big bags?
Right here, Justin, we're filling totes. And so the guy behind the tote here, he hangs it. The tote right now is filling with soybeans, right? We're gonna fill it up to a desired amount, right around 2,000 pounds usually. Okay. And once it hits that point, it'll stop filling. A forklift will come from inside the warehouse with a pallet, fluff the bag so that it all fits nice and snug. They'll take the tote away and go and stack it in a pile for a truck to come and pick it up at another date.
So does it just go to a farm at that point? Is this the final product?
Most of these totes will go to dealerships all across North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota. Yep.
How fast does it take to fill one of these bags up? I mean, how much? You said that's like 2,000 pounds in one of those bags?
30 seconds at the most.
30 seconds?
30 seconds.
So how much seed are you guys doing an hour then?
So we're cleaning, the plant's cleaning about 1,000 bushels an hour. And to put that into perspective, it's one semi-load of beans every hour is being cleaned from start to finish. We've got seed production growers all over the three-state region, depending on their maturities. And so what we like to do is grow the seed where it's going to be planted. There's a lot of seed that's produced right around Prosper here. But we've got seed as far south as southern South Dakota, as far north as Pembina, and as far west as west of Mandan.
How many different varieties of soybean are there that you guys...
40 different varieties of soybeans here.
So you're going to help us pick out the best one?
We've got the best one picked for you guys in your field.
So what makes Peterson Seed so much better than your competition?
So what we strive to do here at Peterson Farms Seed is we really drive home quality. We try to get all of our beans to be a 94% germ or higher germination. And the standard is 90%. And so what we do differently than everybody else is we could clean way more than 1,000 bushels an hour. We could probably do twice that. But we don't want to do that. We want to get the best quality, the best possible outcome as possible. And so we're only cutting at half speed in order to get the best product that we can. And so what we got here is this is the raw product. When it comes from the farmer, this is what it looks like. There's pods, there's greens, there's sticks. Sometimes there's animals inside the sample.
Right.
We run it over 5 different things. So we start with the air screener. It goes over. And that's basically everything that's light. The partial pods, the seed coats, the splits. From there we go to a color sorter. This color sorter is a super cool machine. The beans drop at, I'm going to say 100 miles an hour, like a legitimate 100 miles an hour it looks like, and there's a little spurt of air that pokes out one bean at a time. So that's why they're a different color, right? They're green, they're a darker brown than what we want. It's super neat to see. And from there we go to the gravity tables. And that's where it's air. Imagine air hockey. You know, you go to an arcade, it's air hockey, so it's little holes shooting up air. That's what a gravity table does. And so the stuff that's the lightest gets sent to the bottom, the air. And right, this is the low cut. So that's all the stuff you don't want. The high cut, where it's a little bit heavier, stays to the top of the table, and that's the high table.
Right.
And so that's usually where your better cut. And at the final product, when it's all said and done, this is what it looks like with no splits, no part seed coats, no sticks. A perfect product.
So what do you do with like the low cut stuff? What do you do with the stuff you don't use?
So all this gets sent back to the elevator and sold as grain.
Okay.
Obviously not as a #1 product.
Sure.
But yep.
And how long did you say it takes to go from A to Z, this final product in your operation?
An hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
So you picked out the best seed for us. Why is that the best one, and what are we going to be able to get out of it? Are we going to get 65 bushels an acre? Because that's what we're shooting for here.
Okay. So the bean that I chose for this variety for this ground, excuse me, is I've known it for a lot of years, probably 8 years now. It's a very, very heavy, high clay content soil. Water drainage is decent. It's not great, but it's decent. The couple of issues we find every year, Phytophthora is the #1 in the valley here, in the Red River Valley. And so the bean that I chose is called the 2108E, which is an enlist soybean, an 08 maturity. And maturities kind of depend on daylight, right? That's how you choose what kind of daylight we have here in Cass County, in this part of the county. And the 08 seems to do the best in heavy ground. It grows really tall. And branching, if you can picture a tree, this particular bean branches a lot. And so when you want branching is you're using a planter. Typically here it's 22-inch rows, so it's 22 inches between each row. Okay. And for branching, the importance of branching is canopy cover, right? You don't want weeds to see sunlight, right? As soon as a weed sees sunlight, it grows, right? And so now once you have all this weed pressure, you have to spray again and again. If it keeps on raining, you got to spray again and again. And you don't want that. So you want the fastest canopy closure as you can, as fast as you can. Okay. Or the most canopy.
So what do you think we're going to be able to get out of this? So let's say perfect world, we just have, you know, maybe not the best like I want. I want that 65 bushels. It would be really hard to get. But realistically, what do you think we'll be able to get out of this?
So if we would go back and do last year all over again, I would expect 60 bushels. But last year was kind of an anomaly. Typically, what we see in the valley here is anywhere from 40 to 45 bushels is what we see on average, right? Okay. You can add drain tile, and you can certainly increase your bushels by adding drain tile. More ditching definitely helps. Water is our biggest factor to yield. And it's usually too much.
Do the soybeans not like a lot of water then? They like a little bit more drier, or do they like, how does that look?
Yeah, so a soybean doesn't want to be underwater for very long. Okay. It certainly isn't rice, right? So yeah, we want to get the water off as fast as possible. Because here in the valley, the water, the soil capacity that we can hold water is tremendous, right? You go 50 miles west, they want water every week, where we want water every other week, you know, an inch of rain. So.
What made last year so ideal? You said last year 60, 65.
So last year was kind of an odd year. I think everybody would agree. We didn't get started planting until the last half of May, which is late, right? Yeah. Very late for here. But the summer prolonged. We got the perfect amount of rain, just enough heat where it wasn't too much heat, because a plant can only sustain so much heat before it stops growing and shuts down. You don't want that, right? You want it to just keep on growing all summer long, and that's what happened last year.
So you talked about an 08 maturity for this soybean. Where does that lie? What does maturity mean? Because some of us might be more mature than others. So I'm just curious.
What are you saying? Are you pointing to Justin, right?
Right, that guy. Yeah, the maturity line right there. So what's maturity mean to someone who's not paid attention to soybeans before?
So maturity it's kind of the length of time it takes to mature, right? So from planting, you've got X amount of days until it's mature. And if you go to a later maturing bean, kind of like Dean here, you're gonna want later than an 08, which would be like a 1.2, okay? And if you want to be a little bit more like Justin,
junior high,
you're gonna want something like a 0.03, right? And so right in the middle there, that's kind of our sweet spot for around here, an 08.
With the soybean that we're getting, is it resistant? Is it anything like that? Any special characteristics to this that are kind of great for our area, or is there anything that we might have to be concerned about growing this year?
Absolutely. So what it is an enlist bean, right? So on enlist soybeans, you can spray Roundup, glyphosate, you can spray Liberty, and you can spray 2,4-D on them, right? You don't want to spray dicamba. Around here, dicamba kind of got shunned by everybody up and down the valley, because it'll volatilize and it'll move to your neighbor's field, and it makes it a complete mess, right? Everybody's mad. Right. So most guys went to the enlist system so that there isn't any volatilization happening. The enlist controls kochia, it controls water hemp, it'll control Palmer amaranth if we happen to get it here, which I hope we don't. All your pigweeds and your ragweeds. It's the perfect system.
And what were those you said we could spray on it? It was
Roundup, which everybody knows.
Okay.
Liberty, 2,4-D.
What about WD-40?
You might as well go with JB80.
Okay, but also besides the herbicide tolerance, what's your ratings on like IDC for iron chlorosis?
Right. So for this particular 08 bean, it's our number 2 bean for IDC. So it handles IDC really well. Okay. Obviously, if you're planting in some ground that's super hot IDC, you're going to want a soy green product, some kind of product to help it along more than just the genetics of the bean, if you're planting into some really hot IDC ground. First time I got to use it, Ryan, I was pretty jacked.
for joining us today. Here we grow. We're at Peterson Farms Seed. Thank you to Mike and everybody else who helped make today great. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. We want to make sure to get those answered for you. And follow along on Facebook and YouTube.